Welcome to the RBV Show. Well, it's going to be the last one of the year, folks. So we're going to do a couple things. We're going to do a year in review. We're going to do the locks of the week, and we're going to do Rob V's thoughts on what you should do on New Year's Eve. Well, the first thing on, I hope everyone had a great Christmas and everyone had a great time and they had a lot of fun. My Christmas was good. It was eventful. There's no doubt about that, folks. There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, the Bengals were not eventful. They effing stunk. And they lost for the lock of the week. It was very disappointing, and I didn't really like the Bengals. I was shocked that they lost, especially to a bunch of dopes like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although, shout out George Pickens for giving me, 40 points in my fantasy league. I mean, the lock of the week didn't hit, but I made it to the finals in one of my league. I lost to Tony D and Wakefield in the Turpentine lead, and I promptly paid Pat. I made the MVP move like midway through the loss, and I encourage everyone to pay Pat. It's the right thing to do. And, if you say you're going to do it, you need to do it. So pay Pat. All right. Let's get to this week's locks of the week. All right. We're going to do the NFL first. All right. The first thing I want to talk about is year in review in the NFL. The Jets still blow in 2023. And I stand by that. They're not going to do anything. Aaron Rodgers had a freaking horrendous year. He was literally out after like 8 plays. I don't like the Jets at all. And I think the Patriots, they had a terrible year as well. They just couldn't step up. It was awful. And, Mac Jones isn't going to be a quarterback around here for that much longer. And Bailey Zappi shouldn't be either. But that's okay because we're all going to move on with our lives and we're all going to make it a great 2024. So what is the lock of the week? I think the first lock of the week, unfortunately, I don't like saying this, but I think you got to take the Chiefs at -7. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, the Chiefs are desperate right now. They're not playing good football. I mean, for God's sakes, they just got blown out by the Raiders, or they lost to the Raiders. They didn't get blown out. Even though the offense, yes, is tough. I think Browning. I think the word's out on how to stop him. I don't really think that Kansas City's offense is going to stay stuck in neutral all this time. I think eventually they'll figure it out. And I also think that they're going to put the foot on the gas and try to get a good win at home. At least I think they're at home. Are they at home? Yeah, they are at home. They're at home this week, and I think the crowd's going to take them in. And let's be honest. I mean, Travis Kelce has to have a good game. I mean, the Taylor Swift curse. It can't last forever, or maybe it can. I mean, tune into 2024 and find out. So that's the first lock of the week. Just take the Chiefs at -7. You could also think about taking the over-under at -43. -43. Over-under is 43.5. But should you do that, just forget about the over-under. And the money line is pointless. You put $100 down, and you're only going to win $30. That's very dumb, and it's a bad business decision. So you shouldn't do that. All right, Dolphins, Ravens. It's going to be a great game this week. How can you not love Dolphins Ravens right now? 1 o'clock on New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve day, whatever the fuck it is. Anyway, the Ravens are favored by -3 right now, -3.5. I honestly think that the Ravens are going to. I do think the Ravens are going to win this game. They played great against They played great against San Francisco. They forced Brock Purdy into 4 interceptions. They eventually forced him out of the game. He's quite the talent, but he didn't get it done. I just think with Jalen Waddle potentially out, I think the Ravens will slow down, the Dolphins enough and Tyreek Hill to where they'll get it done at home -3. I feel very confident in that. And looking at the weather forecast, because we always need to look at the weather before we make these picks. Let's just, get all, AccuWeather.com for all your freaking gambling weather needs. It's a fast site. It goes pretty quick. And I like it. All right. So the forecast on Sunday for, Jesus. All right. It's going to be nice and sunny. And it's going to be very little wind, only 8 miles an hour. So you take the Ravens here. They're a good team. They're playing great football, and the Dolphins, I think they have a good enough offense, but I think the Ravens will get it done because first and foremost, they play great at home, and second of all, they're the Ravens. They just win games you don't want them to win. So that's it. Those are the two NFL locks of the week. The lock of the week record, I believe, is 25-19. So, that's not a good record. But I'll update that on Twitterverse. All right. Let's talk about college football. We'll talk about the bowl games. First and foremost, shout out today to the BC Eagles. They ended up beating SMU. It was a great game. They played great. The defense really played great. Robichaux and Castellanos played awesome. Having a game at Fenway in a monsoon was definitely an interesting experience for all the fans that attended. I mean, they were basically all under the grandstands, which is which is the smart thing to do because you don't want to get rained on. But it just made for a very interesting viewing. I mean, there was some dopes up in the Green Monster seats, which I think after a while you would just pack it in, especially in the heels of heavy rain and 20-mile-an-hour winds. Like I said, Robichaux played great. Defense played great. SMU, I think, probably would have, made this game a lot tighter if the weather had been good. You could probably argue that they would have won the game, to be honest. But the rain, you got to play the cards you dealt with, and BC got the job done. It's good momentum for Jeff Halfley coming in next year, coming into the season next year. It also should help him out in the transfer portal. For everyone who does not know, BC is ranked 19th in the transfer portal rankings right now. They didn't have the biggest recruiting class, to say the least, but they got it done, and that's great momentum for the boys, for the Eagles. They won one for Halfley, and they finally won a bowl game at Fenway, so it was nice. All right, let's move on here. So I mean, what we all want to talk about, Bama at Michigan and Texas. Bama at Michigan, Bama and Michigan and Texas at Washington. All right, so Bama at Michigan's an interesting one because first of all, it's out in Pasadena, California. The Michigan is favored by 2. My thoughts on this game. This isn't a lock of the week. This is just basically thoughts. I would actually take the under this game. I think both defenses are going to be very stout. I think points are going to be very hard to come by. I don't think anyone's going to blow anyone out here. I also think it's going to be a fast game because Michigan likes to run the ball, and I think they're going to pound the rock and run the clock as much as they can. Bama's got a great team. They always do. If I had to pick a winner, I would go with Michigan. I do think that with Harbaugh, this could be their year, and that to galvanize them into the national title. I mean, you could honestly argue this is the national title game, but and it is kind of a shame that these teams are facing each other first, and they're not going to meet in the finals. But what are you going to do? But I think Michigan's defense in the running game eventually will get it done, and I think Michigan to win is probably a bet. By the way, the spread right now is -2, and the money line is 125. Honestly, I'll just take the Michigan money line. I mean, if you win by 1 point, you're going to be absolutely fucking livid. So, what are you going to do? And hopefully, McCorum and McCarthy, JJ McCarthy, they'll figure it out and play well. Although Bama does have some good wide receivers, so that Michigan defense is going to be tested. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. And I hope it's a competitive game. I'll probably be watching it from some hotel bar, so it'll be good. Shout out hotel bars. Oh yeah. Anyway, let's talk about. So Texas versus Washington. Now, personally, I do hope that Washington wins because I think it would be more fun if Penix played Michigan. Texas, though, they do have a good squad in there. I know they're favored by 4. Washington doesn't have much of a defense, where Texas, just looking at, various stats and whatnot, definitely does have a defense. I think over 63 is probably a good bet. Washington's offense is going to, go up and down. I mean, they've gone up and down on everyone this year. And Penix is going to play his ass off because potentially could be, he's just a gamer. Texas, I don't know. I mean, they have a good offense too. I mean, they racked freaking 49, 57 points, in Texas, on Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, respectively. I think, I mean, ultimately, I want Washington to win, but I think my head would be with Texas. I mean, they're both going to be great games, on Monday, on New Year's Day. When you're nice and and they start at like 5-8, so you're nice and hungover, so it'd be good. It'd be a good start to the new year. All right, let's talk about Robbie V's. Let's talk about Robbie V's New Year's Eve tips. All right, so the first tip of New Year's Eve is to stay hydrated. You don't want to and don't overdo it in like the first hour. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, for God's sakes, you don't want to be that guy at the party, like rolling on the floor at like 9 o'clock at night. Can't put like two sentences together in his house and pizza goldfish like a madman. That's not a good, especially when you're in your like 30s and 40s. I mean, that's just not acceptable. It's probably more acceptable in your 20s, but definitely not your 30s and 40s. So step up, act accordingly. All right. Second thing is, don't be a moron and start unnecessary drama. I mean, if someone took the peanuts from the hotel bar, or someone ate the last cookie at your friend's house, just let it go. You got to step up in these situations. And sometimes you got to be the bigger person. The third thing is when you're going is don't be that person that is thinking like it's a great idea that like I'm gonna order Uber right at midnight. I mean, because everyone is doing the same thing. Unless you want to like dump your whole paycheck to go like 10 blocks, that's probably not a good call. Have a good designated driver. Have a good escape plan from escape plan. Have a good leaving plan from the party you attended. You gotta be smart about these things. You can't be stupid. You gotta do what you gotta do. All right. Anyway, all right. Let us to Robbie V. Robbie V. I'm thinking about going on for New Year's, but I plan on drinking Bacardi 151. Do you think this is a good move? Signed, Donnie from Duxbury. Well, Donnie, no, I don't think drinking Bacardi 151 on New Year's is a good idea. I think that's a great idea to avoid the fourth Robbie V rule of New Year's. Just don't black out. But if you drink enough Bacardi 151, you might not wake up until the next New Year's celebration, if you wake up at all. So stay away from Bacardi 151. And that's a pro tip from Robbie V for New Year's. All right. Dear Robbie V, you've been bowling lately. How have you been doing? Well, I've been bowling very well, thank you. I do bowl, and I enjoy it very much. Robbie V, this is Vinny from Vancouver. What are your New Year's Eve plans? Like, what are you planning on doing? Like, where are you going to be out and about at? Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Vinny, that's none of your business. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But I'm going out to dinner, but I think that's really all you need to know. I mean, for God's sakes, Vinny, like, fucking grow up. It's really pissing me off. All right, let's talk about the MVPs. Let's talk about the MVPs of the year. First off, I think love him or hate him. I think you gotta give man as MVP for resurrecting the Kirk Minahan network. Hey, if you love the guy, hate the guy. I mean, he trashed my show a bunch and everything, but you gotta look at it this way. He did a lot, and it's it's a good outlet for a lot of Mina fans, and this thing is only growing. So, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Dope of the day. I think we all know who dope of the day is today. This is obviously Thursday, December 28th. Andrew Augustus, and obviously Coleman as well. I mean, they're both good dudes, but when you have a big project like this, like a year-end wrap-up, year-end wrap-up, whatever the heck it was, the show or whatnot, you needed to bring it together. You need to figure out what's going on. You need to make a plan of action, and you need to follow through. There really wasn't any fall through right here with this. The best of. I should probably know what I'm talking about. Whoops, sorry. So the best of fiasco. They needed a plan of action. They needed meetings with Kirk. They just needed to do a better job. And it's sad that we're at this point. I'm glad to see Augustus is out there on Twitter today. He's defending himself, and that's lovely. But the fact of the matter is that Augustus and Coleman, sadly enough, you guys are the last dope of the day from Robbie V. Just be better. That's all we can ask. All right. Now, Wonk of the Week. You know, there's a lot of Wonk of the Weeks out there. I mean, Wonk of the Week. It's probably the guy at the liquor store who, the other day, I walked in and he was drunk and he was too drunk to order. And then I got thrown out. I didn't really appreciate that. And I think he probably should have took an Uber home. I think he did. And that was at, the Weymouth Shaw's, the liquor store right there. It was atrocious. Was it at the Weymouth Shaw's? I forget where it was, but it was out there. And it happened. Although I don't have a good memory. Wonk of the Week could have gone to like people impersonating Santa Clauses. Trying to, go down chimneys and whatnot. Don't go down your own chimney. You got to leave that to the man in the big red hat. All right. So this is it, folks. This is the last RBV show of 2023. I just want to thank all the fans. I want to thank, all 50 of you, and give or take a few, probably on the lower side. But I also want to thank the people, and the Kirk Minahan Network for allowing me to be on here. I wish you all a happy New Year, and just remember to watch Mike and the Minifans in the new year, and watch all the other great Corner Kirk, Mount Kirkmore, and all the other great Stephen Gloucester Show, and all the other great programming on the Kirk Minahan Network. And watch the Kirk Minahan Show himself. Make the MVP move and do that. All right, guys. Well, have a good New Year's. Be safe, and I'll see you in 2024. I'll see you in the new year. Thumbs up. Hopefully, we can win some more money. All right. Bye-bye.